Hello, this is Geoff with End Up Studies. Today we're looking at Galatians chapter 5, verse 18, where the Apostle Paul says, "But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law." What does that mean? It's actually describing two different ways of living. Life of the unbeliever, life of the believer. The unbeliever, he describes it as you are living under the law. And it doesn't mean you have to obey the law perfectly. That's true, but that's not what they're talking about here. They're talking about a believer's relationship to law. That is, when an unbeliever is confronted by God's law, his evil passions are aroused so that he sins more, not less. This is Romans 7:5. And of course, so the result of this is the unbeliever is a slave to sin. And so that's why the unbeliever will never do anything the Bible calls good, Romans 3, because he will never do anything for the glory of God. But the believer says is being led by the Spirit, meaning first off, this has nothing to do with finding God's will. The leading of the Spirit is only used these two places in the teaching passage here in Galatians 5:18 and then in Romans 8:14. And in both places, the context is identical. He's talking about that there is no way that the believer will not grow. The Holy Spirit, with whom Jesus purchased on the cross, will cause the believer to persevere, to battle sin when they fall down, to get back up again. So the believer is being led by the Spirit into a changed life. He's not like the unbeliever who is trapped in their sin. They're a slave to sin. In that sense, they are under the law. So you have two different ways of living. The life of the believer being led by the Spirit into a transformed life, or the life of the unbeliever, you are under the law, meaning you are a slave to sin. Thank you very much. Take care now.